What's going on, y'all? Today we're looking at MLB.com's article about the 12 biggest surprises of the 2026 MLB season so far. So let's dive right into it. The first one is the rapid rise of the White Sox. They talk about, there's usually a bridge year, which they really did come out of nowhere. I actually did. I liked their offseason a lot. I liked it for the wrong reasons. I said Austin Hayes was a good pickup. I didn't think he just got picked up by the Padres, if I'm not wrong. So I got that one wrong. But I mean, I said Murakami was a decent pickup. I wasn't as low as a lot of people were on Murakami after that stat about how he couldn't hit fastballs. But he has been absolutely fantastic. If he stayed healthy the whole year, could he have been AL Rookie of the Year? Maybe. I mean, 138 WRC plus, you're never going to complain about. But Will Venable, I think, deserves a lot of credit. He could be my AL Manager of the Year, honestly. I mean, maybe Kevin Cash gets it just because the Rays are, the best team in the league. But I mean, Miguel Vargas has had a crazy breakout year. Sam Antonacci came out of nowhere. I mean, what was he a top prospect for the White Sox? I'm not sure. Y'all are gonna have to let me know in the comments. I mean, but Tristan Peters is there. Tristan Peters was playing banana ball like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. And he has a 130 WRC plus, and he's homered in 5 straight games when I'm recording this. So Tristan Peters has been insane for them. And he's doing it with this pitching. I mean, Luis Castillo has had maybe one good start since getting over there, but they haven't had him the whole year. Sean Burke's been great. I love Sean Burke. He's been one of the best pitchers in the AL, which doesn't say a lot. AL pitchers, we'll get into that later, but not a ton of great ones this year. But the bullpen's also been really good. So the White Sox have just been a great team, really. I think Will Venable's done a fantastic job on the south side of Chicago. But let's move into the second one here. Pete Crow Armstrong possibly unseating Shohei Ohtani for the NL MVP, and I would get rid of possibly. I believe Pete Crow Armstrong is the MVP, and it's tough to quantify this fielding versus pitching, and of course Shohei. I mean, I will glaze Shohei probably the most out of any baseball talking head. Maybe y'all would think some others glaze him more, but I love Shohei Ohtani. I mean, I think he's the best baseball player to ever play. Now, with that said, is it a little bit of remorse? Maybe. But what PCA has done this year, I mean, he's cut down that walk rate, or no. He's cut down that K rate. He's upped that walk rate, which is what really hurt him last year in that second half. It was that he was still chasing, which he still does this year, but he also wasn't taking a walk. This year, he's taking every walk. I mean, not every walk, but you know what I mean. 82nd percentile for walks is insanely good, especially for, I don't got his 2025 here, but if I were to take a guess, I would say he was in like the 30th percentile maybe. That might be low, might be high, whatever. But when you have a guy who's, I mean, one of the best bats in baseball, I think he's top 5 in WRC plus. I would have to check that. And then he's the best fielder in all of baseball this year, playing at playing at a premium position like center field. There's not much you can do. And now what Shohei does, nobody's ever done. I mean, I don't believe Babe Ruth was doing exactly what Shohei is doing, and he had sub 2 ERA. Now it was only 80 innings, I believe, but I still think half a season of pitching is insane. And I mean, you look at his hitting stats; they look good here. Now, if you were to bring up his WRC plus and his OPS, it's slightly down from last year, but I still think PCA is the most valuable player this year, and that's what the award is, the most valuable player. And I think the player with the most value is PCA. Now let's move on to the third one here, where they got the anemic American League. They bring up run differential from last year. I don't know about y'all. Could not care less about run differential. I don't really enjoy that stat, but yeah, it is kind of crazy to see how bad the AL is. I mean, that six wild card spot is almost guaranteed going to be somebody right at 500, maybe, a few games over. Could somehow end up being maybe under 500. And then at the same time, you look at that, the AL West winner could easily be under 500 as well. So if we get two playoff teams in there that are under 500, I mean, that's going to be insane. I not in my lifetime have I ever seen two. Well, definitely not. Actually, 100%. I haven't seen two sub 500 teams get into the playoffs. So it'll be very interesting. And imagine one of those teams somehow goes on a run and wins the AL. That would just be absolutely insane. Moving on, though, the Brewers and the Rays vying for their league's best record. Now, on the Brewers side of this, I can't say I'm surprised. I'm always a Brewers guy. I'm not a Brewers fan. I'm a Cardinals fan, but with that being said, I got to watch a lot of Brewers and I got to keep up with them because they're in the division. And every year they trade somebody. Like 2 years ago, it was Devin Williams, and everybody was freaking out. What's going to happen? And I was like, it's going to be all right. And then Trevor McGill stepped up for them and became a great closer, and they got Abner Uribe still in that bullpen, and so they were really good last year. Didn't quite get past the Dodgers, and then this year, same thing. They get rid of Freddie Peralta. Everybody's like, what are they doing? Well, Milwaukee has probably the best pitching factory and development in the league up there in Wisconsin. So it never worries me when they trade away good players, and we saw Freddie Peralta fall off, even though I think he's had back-to-back good starts for the Rays. Somebody might have to correct me on that. But the Brewers are always there. Now the Rays been pretty interesting for me. Let me pull them up. They've been definitely shout out Fangraphs. They've been definitely I wouldn't say a huge surprise. I think in my video I made before the season, 5 teams that were going to surprise. Pretty sure I had the Rays on there, which I also had the White Sox. I want to gas myself up a little too bit, but uh, yeah, I think I knew they were going to be better than. I think their win total was maybe 75 wins on whatever site I was looking at. That was their expected total, and I was like, well, they're going to get more than that. I mean, and that's what they've ended up doing. I mean, Junior Caminero has came out. I think he's going to probably finish top 3 in AL MVP voting. I would think if he somehow doesn't, at least top 5. I mean, I expect top 3, but you would think top 5, especially with how weak the AL MVP is this year. But Jonathan Aranda has had a really good year again. He had a nice 2025 as well. Yandy Diaz is one of the most consistent bats over this decade, really. Since the 2020 started, Yandy Diaz, insanely underrated bat there. They picked up Liam Hicks at the deadline, who's been really good for them. Chandler Simpson, despite the 95, despite the 95 WRC plus, I mean, that guy's good. His hitting stats to people who look at these stats like me don't look great, but if you know Chandler Simpson and you know the value he's bringing, he's a lot better than a 95 WRC plus. I mean, I think his 2 WAR shows that. Johnny DeLuca's had a really good year. I think he's kind of falling off a little bit recently. I might be wrong, but really good year there. And then they always have great pitching. I mean, Drew Rasmussen, probably top 3 Cy Young finisher. Nick Martinez has fought off bad underlying numbers all year. Shane McClanahan isn't the Shane McClanahan we knew a few years ago, but he's still pretty good. I mean, a 3.110 ERA, you're never going to complain about that, especially when he's staying healthy. And then they got Freddie Peralta, and where's Griffin Jacks was down here. Griffin Jacks was pitching all right out of their rotation. I believe his first year in the rotation, so yeah, he was pitching good. He's been injured for a little bit now. And then their bullpen's always good. I mean, Kevin Cash, great mind. He does operate the bullpen great. I know some fans, bring up Blake Snell back in the 2020 World Series, but Kevin Cash is a good manager. He usually operates the bullpen and when to pull his starters very well. So you got to give him that. Steven Matz, though, been somebody I thought was going to be good for the Rays. 6.17 ERA over 65 innings. Not exactly what you want to see. Not exactly. Next, we got the stumble of the Mariners, Blue Jays, Tigers, and Mets. Yes, this is... See, I was just gassing myself up about my predictions before the season. I believe I had these 3 teams right here winning their division in my predictions. I had the Mets in like 3rd, but I still think I had the Mets in a playoff spot. Maybe I had them as the first team out of the wild card. Can't exactly remember, but yeah, I had these 3 right here all winning their division. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I didn't have the Blue Jays. Maybe I might have picked the Red Sox over the Blue Jays, but I digress. Tigers, very disappointed in the Tigers. I mean, Casey Mize and Tarek Skubal were great, and they got bit. All 3 of these teams got bit by the injury bug pretty bad, I would say, actually. I mean, Mariners haven't had Brendan Donovan like all year. Blue Jays, a ton of injuries to both their outfield and their pitching. And then the Tigers just had injuries all across the board, really. But I mean, the Tigers still had Tarek Skubal, Casey Mize, Kevin McGonical's been great, but Spencer Torkelson's kind of taken a step back. Who else can I think of? I think it was a combination of injuries and disappointment for them, and I could say that for all 3 teams. I mean, the Mariners, Cal Raleigh definitely hasn't lived up. Josh Naylor hasn't lived up to anything. Cole Young's been pretty good for the Mariners, but Cole Emerson hasn't really done much since he got called up. Julio Rodriguez, I thought he was going to have another, insane second half resurgence. I don't think that's happened, but maybe I'm just not paying attention enough to the Mariners. But The Mariners, I still had hope in the Mariners as far as like, geez, I think I made a video about a month ago still saying, hey, I still believe they got a decent shot, but I think I made a video in June saying they had like the third best World Series odds. They might not even make the playoffs. Blue Jays, I gave up on them a while back. It was probably after that Dylan Cease like no hitter, and then I was like, that's gonna be the turning point. It wasn't the turning point. Let me just tell you all that. It just wasn't. And the Tigers, gosh, I feel like I gave up on the Tigers pretty early, but yeah, it has been pretty crazy. I mean, especially after what the Mariners and Blue Jays did last year in the playoffs and what the Tigers have done the past 2 years. So moving on to number six. Oh, the strange struggles of the big dumper and Vladdy. Yeah, just talked about Cal Raleigh, how big of a disappointment it is. Let me pull up him. And I mean, he's been hot as of late, but I mean, you look at these stats after what, a 62 homer season, I believe? One of the best catcher seasons we've seen, and he's batting 167 now. But yeah, 85 WRC plus, and that's with the boosted. Like he has like 4 homers in the past week or week and a half, whatever he does. 4 homers, 3 homers, whatever it is. So his WRC plus before this week was probably 73, if I had to take a guess. And I mean, he has 1.5 WAR. He's just been awful. I mean, he's coming off. It was the 60 homer season, right dead on. 60 homer season, 125 RBIs last year, even 14 stolen bases. Hold on, I didn't know he stole 14 stolen bases last year. What the? And you see his WOBA was outperforming his ex-WOBA, whatever. But I mean, this year that's not a bad gap between WOBA and ex-WOBA. It's not something you can be like, oh, he's getting super unlucky. Is he? It's been a big digression. You see a regression, not digression, regression, and you see his strikeout rate jump. I'm pretty sure if I pulled up his baseball savant, his whiff rates have gone up. He's just not hitting the ball. And he was injured to start the year, and we had the World Baseball Classic, which I know throws a few players off. So could be a whole lot of things for him. Moving to Vladdy, I, I I I don't have his stats pulled up either, but I think Vladdy's fallen back into. We saw towards the end of last year and on that playoff run, he wasn't hitting the ball into the ground as much. I think he's gone right back to his old Vladdy ways of just smoking the ball into the ground at about 110 miles an hour every time. And you see this gap between Woba and X-Woba. I would say that is him getting unlucky. This is, I mean, a 30-point gap is starting to get to the point where I'm like, all right, you're getting unlucky. But Vladdy has 7 homers on the year. That he's going to finish with his lowest total of a full season ever. I mean, by far. He would have to hit 8 homers in these last, what, 27, 26 games. So he might finish with lower than he did in that 60-game 2020 season. Vladdy's just been awful. He's one of the reasons that the Blue Jays haven't been as good as they should be, and there's a plethora of other players in there that also need to do more. But we won't get into that. Moving on to number 7 here, Butterfly breakouts for Jake Bauers and C.J. Abrams. Jake Bauers, former, top prospect. C.J. Abrams is a top prospect too, getting moved over in that. That's C.J. Abrams getting moved over in the Juan Soto deal. Oh my goodness, I can't talk. But you look at his Jake Bauers 2026, absolutely broken out. I mean, this is the baseball savant of one of the best hitters in baseball, and you look at 2025, there was glimpses of it. Now only 183 ABs last year, but that he showed glimpses. 2024, there's still glimpses there, but once again, I mean, 2024 he had a 662 OPS, so you're like, yeah, it looks all right, but will it ever, become what he can be? Well, in 2026, you see it, he has, and this is just another thing about the Brewers, like I said earlier. I mean, they're just the best organization in baseball. It used to be the Rays, and the Rays are still a great organization. Probably second right behind the Brewers. The Brewers are the best organization in baseball right now. I'm not afraid to say that. And Jake Bauers proves that. I mean, you can just look at that if you want any proof. Moving on to C.J. Abrams. Great season for him. I think he's top 10 in OPS this year in the NL. And you look at 2025, it wasn't the best. And, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, Nats fans, but I feel like last year and maybe in 2024, people were getting a little tired of CJ Abrams. They're like, well, where is this guy? I mean, he's not good at shortstop, and his bat isn't good enough for how bad he is at playing the defensive position. But this year, still really bad at fielding, really bad. But you see the batting run value, and you're like, well, we'll take that. I mean, when you're leading an offense, and I think they're maybe top 5 in WRC plus. You see this, and I mean, 869 OPS. You would love to have this guy. He's got 29 homers, 26 stolen bases. He's gonna have a 30-30 year. Can't get much better than that for a guy you've been waiting on for that breakout. Moving on, we got number 8, Boston's bizarre trajectory. Now, this has been an up and down season for Boston for sure. Excuse me. Yeah, no team has ever gone on a 27-3 run after falling 10 or more games under 500. And their playoff rate dropped to, I didn't even know it was that low, 9.4% at one point. And this is a team I'm pretty sure I had picked to win the AL East. Maybe I had them second. Whatever. I love their offseason. I loved Ranger Suarez coming over. Was a big move I loved for them. Sonny Gray also great move. Glad to see him playing good as a former Cardinal. But yeah, they went on that awful run, and I think I had a video in the middle of June or maybe early June, ranking teams by their World Series odds, and I still had the Red Sox like in the middle because I mean anything could have happened in that AL, and anything still can happen in that AL. But you saw it. I mean, 27-3 run that really got capped off when they went out west and swept the Dodgers, and they had that Sunday night baseball game. Cedar Rafaela had a crazy like week there series out west. They had a great run there, and they're still a hot team. And I don't think anyone wants to see them in the playoffs, really. I think if you're an AL team that's in that playoff race, you do not want to see the Boston Red Sox, I don't think. Especially if they get Garrett Crochet back and put him in the bullpen. That bullpen is absolutely locked down in Boston. Number 9, the front office overhauls in the AL West. Yeah, just recently, Dana Brown of the Astros, I think that was a few days ago now, got released earlier in the year. Angels kicked out their GM, brought in John Mozeliak, shout out. And the Angels had a good deadline, bringing in Mo Baller and some other decent pieces. Got rid of some of their guys they didn't really need. But the A's as well are in there. And the A's, I mean, I think they got messed up by injuries this year as well. Shea Langoliers, Jacob Wilson's had a lot of injuries. Lawrence Butler has been playing pretty good, but he hasn't played great. But the A's just they're gearing up, and David Frost is probably just a piece that had to fall on their way to getting to Las Vegas. So not surprised by the A's. The Astros though, they are just they seem to be. I don't watch a ton of Astros, and I don't stay in the loop with the Astros a ton, but the Astros seem to be that organization that just does not play around. They don't really wait. They kind of always want to win, and I guess they should. I mean, they have Yordan Alvarez, and they have a lot of money in that team still. I believe they have a lot of money in that team. Jeremy Pena's out there. Carlos Correa's out there. Josh Hader, they paid him. But it's really been that starting rotation, which sucks. But Dana Brown hasn't helped that. I mean, trading for Dalton Varsho was bad. Jesus Sanchez, even though I did like the move at last deadline, 2025's deadline, turned out not to be a great move either, and they ended up getting rid of him in the offseason. And it just hasn't been great for the Astros, and with that organization seemingly always wanting to win, that's just what you're going to get. I mean, I can't say much else. Moving to number 10, the Nationals' explosive offense, and they're not lying when they say explosive. I have the stats pulled up here. This is 2025's offensive stats, and I got it sorted by WRC Plus over here. But you're scrolling, and you get to 26th, and you find, sorry if that's hard to read. Hold on, let me get rid of that. But 26 right here is the Washington Nationals, and 91 WRC Plus last year as a team. Not great. They did get in a little unlucky. You see the ex-Woba. Woba to ex-Woba here. Little unlucky, whatever. But you move that to 2026, they are third in WRC Plus this year, 106, only behind the Dodgers and the Cubs, who are insanely good offenses. And I mean, you got to look at the team. We talked about CJ Abrams. You love to have him. They had Curtis Mead there for a little bit. They ended up trading him. He was having a spectacular year for the Nationals. Even Keibert Ruiz, who I've ragged on a lot. I mean, I'm sure Nationals fans have seen some of my TikToks about 2021 trade deadline. I've ragged on Keibert Ruiz a lot, and I'm glad to see he's having a decent season, which he should. He was very, very hyped up. Jacob Young's been pretty good. I know he has a 96 WRC plus, but I believe he's been pretty good since the All-Star break as well. He had that insane catch the other day. Andres Chaparro has been really good at first base. I had him as like the 15th best first baseman in the league, and of course they have James Wood, who's hurt right now, but James Wood, one of the best bats in the league. So Yeah, they've really. I mean, they have the offensive now. Will it stay? I don't know they need pitching, and they could figure it out with Connelly early and Cade Savali. Cavalli. I never know if it's Savali or Cavalli. I'm sorry. Correct me in the comments. But and they got a ton of pitching at the deadline, specifically for that Luis Garcia Jr. trade. Another guy who was in here had a great offense, but great year. My bad. But yeah, they need pitching, so I don't know what they will do. They might expend some more offense and hope some prospects like Dylan Cruz can start to turn around. But we'll see what they ended up doing. We know they need some pitching out there in Washington. Number 11, Kyle Tucker's replacement level output. Another guy we get to rag on, which I don't like to do. I don't like to put people down, but Kyle Tucker been awful. I mean those home splits. I think we've all seen them at this point. They've been a big talking point the last 2 weeks. They are, I'm not gonna put it lightly. They're god awful. Yeah, they're not nice on the eyes for sure. And I mean, you look at this guy. I mean, he's a career 132 WRC plus guy. He had 179 a few years ago in that little injury-filled 2024. But even last year for the Cubs, 137 WRC plus. And then he moves to the Dodgers, signs that huge deal, 92 WRC plus. And we've heard some quotes. Oh, I don't like playing in LA. I don't like whatever's true, whatever's not. I don't really care. The guy's got to produce. This is a 4.5 WAR guy since he's broken into the big league level at in 2021. Started getting some real playing time. You just can't post 0 WAR. That especially with how much money is he making? 58 million, 57 million a year. Deferrals, whatever. AAV, $57 million a year. Cannot post literally 0 WAR. Moving on to the last point they got in this, the AL Cy Young race. They say here we're not going to be seeing any of last year's top 10 really in the race. Terry Skubal out of the AL. Garrett Crochet hasn't pitched barely at all this year. Hunter Brown was injured to start the year. I don't think he's been great since coming back. Max Fried hurt. Brian Wu has some really good underlying numbers still, but he's definitely not getting in there. Carlos Rodon's been hurt, not really pitched a ton. Aroldis Chapman could be in the voting this year. Jacob deGrom, Drew Rasmussen definitely should, and Trevor Rogers, of course, won't. But we go look at the ERA rankings of the AL. Cam Schlittler been insane in his first full season. I mean, the Yankees, they can't be anything but just ecstatic about what they've got out of Cam Schlittler. Dylan Cease, first year in Toronto, also been insane with that new look away little mechanic he added. Parker Messick, probably one of the most underrated pitchers in baseball. I mean, this guy has one of the best fastballs at like 6 foot, and he gets like no extension down the mound. And he throws it like, I think like league average, like 95, 94. Insane. He's been great. 2.5 ERA. Sonny Gray, first year in Boston, also been great. Nick Martinez, I do not know how he is here. Shout out Nick Martinez, though. He's been fighting off ugly underlying numbers all year, but I mean, he strikes out 5 guys. But maybe that's just the new gen in me talking, oh, this guy doesn't strike out enough guys. Whatever. But gosh, I do not know how he's top 5 in ERA. But then there's Drew Rasmussen, who's been insanely good for them. And I mean, Drew Rasmussen's been pretty underrated since the start of 2024, but he finally is staying healthy the whole year. Hopefully, he keeps staying healthy. But yeah, and then Cater Montero's having a decent year. Him and Troy Melton have been pretty good in Detroit. Troy Melton, of course, doesn't have a ton of innings. I think he just got blown up his last start too. Sean Burke been really good, and then there's Logan Gilbert, who's still having a good year for Seattle. Probably or pretty under the radar actually. Logan Gilbert this season. Because Seattle's just been awful, so everybody just expects them to be awful. I even love what like Reed Detmers has done down here. 13th in ERA in the league at 3.62, which you're like, well, that's kind of high, but it's not really for the league. 13th, and he has some great underlying stuff, and he's really had his first good season as a starter in his career. So you love to see that. But yeah, I mean, the only guy you could say from last year that's going to be in the top 10 is Drew Rasmussen, who's probably going to be top 5, maybe even goes on a heater in his last 3 starts or whatever he's going to make, 2 to 3 starts. Maybe finish his top 3. So yeah, that's all for this video. That's all for the list they got here. Let me know what you guys agree with and disagree with what I said. And yeah, I'd love to catch you guys in the next one.